Hey everybody, I'm Rob with FoundingTheFuture.us, and this is your 5 Minutes of Freedom. I'm hoping to bring these videos whenever the mood strikes me, and to bring you a little more information about things that are going on in the news. Today, I, like many of you, may have had the opportunity to spend some time with some veterans. It's November the 11th. Today is Veterans Day in the United States and in our Western allies, so we had the opportunity to thank those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, or risked the ultimate sacrifice, in service of their nation. There are 21.8 million living veterans in the United States. That's an astounding number. Looking back at American history, there have been 1.4 million casualties of American soldiers. Now, casualties here is defined as those who have lost their lives in service of their country. There have also been 1.5 million wounded in that time. The interesting fact is that if we were to look at these on a graph, you would see that at the beginning, since 1774 until present, the number of wounded has actually gone up and the number of dead has gone down. This is thanks to the advancements in battlefield medicine in the latter half of the 20th and early part of the 21st century. This is good in ways. That means that the number of lives we are celebrating on Veterans Day, the day meant for those living veterans, has gone up. And the number of those who we are memorializing on Memorial Day, the day meant for those who died in combat, has gone down. If you want to see it as a good thing, certainly that is a good thing. Another important number to keep in mind is that 41,000 people haven't come home from the combats that they've gone to, but that we just don't know where they are. And the POW-MIA group was organized specifically to try and bring these people home. And it's just astounding to me that 41,000 American servicemen are missing, and we just don't know where they are. The U.S. military currently has 2.2 million active and reserve troops in its military. The U.S. military is active in about 74 countries, although I would tend to think that that's a low number. That's defined by the U.S., so when we have a few troops here advising or there as an attaché, that may not count that number. I would guess that the number is a little higher, probably closer to 130 if you use really liberal statistics. The U.S. military budget is $600 billion. That makes up about 54% of our discretionary budget. That's an outstanding number. It's larger than the next 13 countries combined. Arguably, all of those countries are allies. At least we have friendly trade relations with them. Number 2 in that list is China. They spend $200 billion. If you're keeping track, that's less than a third of what we spend. For every dollar that the Chinese spend, America spends about $2.90 on their military. That's just insane. Not included in that budget is Veterans Affairs. The VA provides benefits and services to the veterans, those who come back after serving overseas. Essentially what happens is that the U.S. military budget serves those while they are active duty or in the reserves. Once neither of those things is true, the VA then steps in to serve them. The VA's budget is $164 billion. Now that's much less than the active military budget, but certainly it's a substantial budget. But keep in mind, that budget is meant to serve anyone who is served. So those Korean War veterans, even World War II veterans who are still alive, are being served by the VA. Here's where the story really turns. Nearly 800,000 record requests, that's requests for benefits through the VA, have been stalled. They've been sitting on desks or in files somewhere and haven't been approved. That means 800,000 people who have served their country admirably haven't been able to get the benefits that they were promised when they signed up. On top of that, the VA admitted this year that nearly 300,000 people died waiting for their benefits to be approved. That means someone had earned their benefits. They served their country overseas, and they couldn't get benefits in time. They died waiting for services. The average wait time for a VA beneficiary is 300 days. That means when someone needs services and they go to the VA seeking services, they're going to have to wait nearly a year to get those services. Maybe that's not that big a deal. A lot of us have had to wait to get insurance. A lot of us have had to wait to get unemployment. All of those benefits that the VA provides. But another startling statistic is that every day, 22 vets commit suicide while they wait for their benefits. So, what does this all mean for us? Well, we all stood out in the cold today, and we heard the Star-Spangled Banner. Many of you, like me, may have heard your local high school band and choir sing along. You may have heard some great little poems. Flowers of Flanders is a popular one. Brown Boots has become popular in recent years. But the fact remains that after November 11th passes, Too many of us forget about our veterans. It's a sad fact. These people have gone and risked their lives. Whether or not we agree with the war that they're fighting in, they've agreed to go out and put themselves in harm's way at the order of their superiors. Their superiors being the people that we vote for. Now, maybe it's not the exact candidate that you voted for, but we have elections, and those people are elected, and they send them out to war. And what happens when they get home? They are left high and dry. They're left waiting 300 days to get their benefits approved, if they're approved at all. They're left waiting for services. They're left injured, psychologically damaged. And what happens to a soldier when they get back from war? Well, when it comes time for them to leave, they are given a pat on the back and their discharge papers, and they're sent back out into the general population. It takes months for them to get ready to go to war. But when it's time for them to come home, there's no time spent, no energy spent, and no money spent to get them ready to come back to civilian life. This is a disservice, and we should be ashamed of ourselves. So go ahead, give yourself a pat on the back. You went and stood out in the cold for a little while. You held your hand over your heart when they played the national anthem, and you said the Pledge of Allegiance. But ask yourself this: what are you really doing to help the veterans? And what can you be doing? Call your congressman. Call your senator. Call the president. Tell them it is a disgrace that we treat our veterans this way. Tell them that more needs to be done. Tell them that they won't be returned to Washington in November 2016 if they don't do something about this problem. This is Rob, and this has been your 5 Minutes of Freedom. Check out foundingthefuture.us for more. SST 115. Oh, and one last thing. To my dad, to my grandpa, to my pop-pop, to all my uncles and great-uncles and my grandfathers for years back since my family came to this country. Thank you for your service.